I want to thank everybody for chiming in. This is Watchman Yahudah Israel, also known as Pastor Derek Mann, on the Early When I Seek the Script Study and Prayer Line on this 4th day in July 2017. Hallelujah. We want to make sure that we try to stay focused and don't go for the hocus pocus. Don't get too caught up that we don't have time to fellowship and lift him up. Come together in his name. Hallelujah. Let's get in the word, y'all. Let's go to a couple of scriptures on today. Let's go to Proverbs 22:1. Look what it says. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. A good name is rather to be chosen than good riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. Proverbs 18:21, look what it says. It says, life and death are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Oh, it says death and life. I said life and death, vice versa. It's death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Interesting. Life or death and life, hallelujah, is in the power of the tongue. Mystique. The word says in Proverbs 22:1, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and loving favor rather than silver and gold. We gotta watch what we say. And that's the truth. We as people, we gotta watch what we say, because we were made in Yah's image. And he gave us co-creator capabilities, sub-creator. He gave us the very tool that he used to create everything. The word teaches, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with Yah, and the Word was Yah. It went on to say, the same was in the beginning with Yah. All things were made by him. Who is him? The Word. And without him, the Word, was not anything made that was made. In him was life. In who? The Word. Because if you keep following in St. John 1, you get down to the 10th verse, and it say, he was in the world, and the world was made by him. That makes sense, because in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with Yah. The Word was Yah. The same Word was in the beginning with Yah. All things were made by him. All things were made by him. Made by who? The Word. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. What did not they receive? The Word. See, the word was made flesh and dwelt among us, the 14th verse say. And folks got more caught up in the flesh than why the flesh even came. The flesh came, for the lack of a better term, secondary. It had a dual purpose: to discredit the flesh, to discredit the flesh of humanity, to pay the ransom for the flesh of humanity, to be that sacrifice. But the main ingredient was what was inside of the flesh. See, had what was inside of the flesh never been disrespected, then there would have been no need for the word to take on flesh, to become a human being, to die for the sins of mankind. Flesh had a job to do, and that was to reconcile us back to the Creator. And the Creator is the Word. The Word is a creator, y'all. He said, let there be light, and there was light. He said, let the firmaments be divided, and they were divided. If you follow the creation story, he was speaking. Even when he got intimate with man and formed man from the dirt, from the ground, he breathed the word into him, the breath of life. Because all things was made by him. And then he created all these things, and he created Adam, breathed the breath of life in him, and then he let him begin to create. He put Adam to sleep, and he took out his rib, took out a portion of him, and made his wife, man with a womb, woman. And in Genesis 3:20, the word says, and Adam called his wife Eve, or he named his wife Eve, it says, because she was the mother of all living. So Adam named his wife according to who she was. Because the word lines up with reality, and or reality lines up with the word. He said, call those things that are not as though they are. Like Yah did, said, let there be light. And there was light. There was first darkness upon the face of the deep. Voidness and darkness. But he called those things that are not as though they were, because as though they were, because of the power of the word, able to manifest and bring forth. No wonder the word says death and life is in the power of the tongue. And if you're using words, be careful, because you're going to bear the consequences of what you say. Every idle word will be brought into judgment, because you got to understand what a powerful tool you use. You got to understand that. You got to understand when you call yourself do dirty. You got to understand that Satan is a liar and the father of a lie. And when he speaks a lie, he's speaking of his own, because the fruit of a lie can be manifested into death. The fruit of a lie is confusion. It manifests what sort it is. It causes division. It causes strife. It causes mayhem. It causes trouble. It's the separation from Yah himself. Because death and life is in the power of the tongue. And we got to start taking responsibility for the things that come out of our mouth, because it has creative power. It also has destructive power. Yeah, what come out your mouth can destroy you. Can destroy others, can discourage others. James talk about that tongue. That little joker is small, but the authority and the power that Yah gave it. He gave Adam the power to name all of the animals in his creation. Adam had it a little easier in the beginning because he was able to speak the word on things that already exist. And he was not a liar like Satan was, so he was able to speak the truth concerning the objects. He's able to call a flower a flower. He was able to call his wife Eve because she was the mother of all living, and it was true. He was able to name the animals based on what the animal was. And then he gave us the power of faith to even speak those things that are not as though they were, like he did in the beginning. You got to watch that devil, that liar, because he knows the power of the word. And even the Johnny-come-lately language English from the original language Hebrew, which is from right to left. You have a folk that came along that did not honor Yah, came with a dyslectic language that's backwards. That's from left to right, exactly the opposite. You have a dyslectic people that touch the scriptures, and so people like to say they were innocent in their translation and transliteration, but they sure got busy with their interpretations, with their transliterations, and began to rename some stuff. Took the Almighty's name out because it spoke for itself, the self-existent Almighty. It's kind of skeptical, kind of questionable how he ended up with a pagan deity's name as a title. We call it a title now. God is a title, but it used to be a name. Christos used to be the identity of idolaters. Of the Serapis Mithra religion. Gotta watch that devil. He's a liar. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Now I'm still saying Psalms 138:2 said he exalts his word over his name. And he has a way of stopping the devil in his tracks. He don't see as man see. Man look on the outer appearance, but Yah looks at the heart. But when you know better, you should learn to do better. When you find out that hallelujah is the highest praise, no wonder, because it was the only praise in church that we was really saying his name. In the original language, praise ye Yah. That is, they even say that in Revelations, in heaven. According to the book of Revelation, they're saying praise ye Yah, even in heaven. You gotta look at even the patriarchs was even called by his name. posted the post on the slave trade website where the slaves had Yah in their name, whole slew of them. You look at the definition of the patriarch's name; they're telling the gospel story, the redemption story. If you look at the definition of their name in chronological order, it talks about the salvation of mankind, the saving of mankind, and using Yah's name, because back in the day they didn't name their children just anything. Just like Adam didn't call the stuff just anything, he named it according to what it was. But even from a prophetic standpoint, when you're naming your children, you're naming their identity. You're naming forth their character. That's why Yah changed Jacob's name from hustler, supplanter, to, what was it, ruler of many? I'd have to look it up. I don't remember. But I know that he's one that had he had favor with man and Yah. Maybe that even was the definition of his name, but he changed his name from hustler to his purpose. He changed his name. And by changing his name, he changed his destiny. He changed his purpose from the first man, hustler. He wasn't nothing but a shadow on the type of humanity. All have sinned and come short. When we first came, we brought nothing to the table but a carnal mind, a carnal nature. But if any man be in Yeshua, inside of the Messiah, he's a new creation, a new creature. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. When we took on Yahshua, we took on his name. We took on Yah's name. We were adopted into the family, thereby changing our purpose, our destiny. When we was baptized into Yeshua, we was baptized into his death. And like he was raised up by the power of the Father, even so we should walk in the newness of life. We were renamed. Because death and life is in the power of the tongue. We're part of the royal family, and now we're a royal priesthood, a chosen generation, a peculiar people, that we should show forth the praise of him that has called us out of the darkness into the marvelous light. We got a new purpose. We got a new name. According to Ephesians, all the family in heaven and earth is called by that name. We were renamed. The devil renamed all kind of stuff in the word. We like to say, oh, that's innocent. That's just a translation from one language to another. How innocent you are. Oh, mama, he used to be a pimp. He's not a pimp no more. He loved me. Oh, those are just vapors from the plains. Those are not chemtrails. You conspiracy theorists. A little high fructose corn syrup ain't gonna hurt nobody. It don't have to be organic. How innocent you are. Ignorant. Being ignorant is not always like a put down. It's just you don't know. Mommy, can I go pet the pussycat? Baby, that's a lion. It's a pussycat. How innocent. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and when you know better, you'll do better. That's why the word told you to study to show yourself approved. Studying means you're going to gather some information you ain't got. You don't want to be the type of person that's ever learning but never able to come into the knowledge of the truth. You want to study to show yourself approved. You're trying to gather and learn something and then apply it. It's not the hearers of the word that's justified, but the doers. You want life application. You want to continue to apply what you learn. Given the benefit of the doubt, how sweet. How long you want to give the devil the benefit of the doubt? How long you want to give carnal, unrejuvenated man, a kidnapper, a raper? Did Christopher Columbus really discover America? How long will you simple ones love simplicity? Who said he discovered America in the first place? Whoever said it, it was accepted, at least nationally. Because it shows a curriculum taught to all the children. How innocent you are. Ignorant. It's not always bad to be ignorant unless you willingly ignorant. Took his name out of the scripture, the name that's above every name, and at that name every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess, and changed it. Oh, that's just a translation. Okay. Just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. It means earth pig in Latin. What a coincidence. Yeah. Okay. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. And though we called on whatever they gave us to call on, we didn't know no better. And Yah moved. Though the only time we really was calling on his real name is when we said hallelujah or sung the song Kumbaya. The song that the true Hebrew sung because of the curse of Deuteronomy 28 and 68. They were in slavery, working hard. Yah was punishing them, and they was calling on him, Kumbaya, Kumbaya. They had to stop speaking Hebrew. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that's their Babylonian names. Because they were stripped of their Hebrew names that glorified Yah. The slaves had to stop speaking Hebrew, but they was able to slip that one in through a song and carry that along. And they were calling on Yah in a strange land. They lost their inheritance, they lost their identity, they lost their dignity, they lost everything according to the sins of the forefathers. But they were able to preserve a song that magnified his name. And though our belief system had been tampered with some, especially at the Council of Nicaea, some things had been changed, but they was able to preserve his name through hallelujah, praise ye Yah. And in the land of your captivity, in a strange land, you start calling yourself player from the Himalaya. We pick up these nicknames. Pimp Daddy, the Mac, Thug. We pick up all these negative terms. Idiot, imbecile, ludicrous. And we wonder what's wrong with us. Adam didn't name Eve bitch, because bitch is a female dog. And how people use it is disgraceful. But yet we got folks running around calling their women out of their name. And you wonder why they act the way they do. Calling each other hoes. I'm not cussing y'all. Bitch is really an acceptable word, just used in a super derogatory manner. Whore. That's not cussing. It's in the word. And folks shouldn't be running around and naming themselves that I'm Mac Daddy's hoe, they say. Calling each other bees. You wonder what's wrong with the community? Because we name our children things that don't magnify the Savior. We name our things that destroy their future before they even start. And those of us that named our children appropriately, the children go out and rename themselves with nicknames that destroy their life. Just like Yah changed Abram's name and Sarai's name, changed Jacob's name, changed the whole 12 tribes of Israel name. He even renamed his children. When we accepted, we're called by his name. Because he knows that death and life is in the power of the tongue. And he speaks life over us. But we arbitrarily in our dead state is just throwing words out, saying anything, naming things, anything. And if it's not filthy enough, then our children will go out and rename themselves something filthier than what we named them. Say we naming our children based on how good it sounds, how cute it sounds. We just name them nothing. What we name them don't even exist. It don't promote positive character. It don't promote a relationship with Yah. But they'll go find a name that magnifies the devil and call themselves that. Because death and life is in the power of the tongue. Watch what you say. We cussing and talking filthy and wonder why our life is filled with police reports and alcoholism and drug abuse and beat downs and shootouts. Because everything we say promote that. The things we call each other promote that. The music we listen to promote that. The Ashkenazi Jews had a meeting when they was doing music that was telling on them, tearing down their kingdom and exposing them. They rushed that money to Los Angeles to niggas with attitudes, to NWA. They rushed the budget out there, call them B's and H's, and disrespect them. I'm going back to B's and H's, y'all, because I don't use the terms. I used it in this lesson and had to reiterate that not cuss words, but the way they're used. I don't use that language. I'm just teaching. I'm going there with you, but I'm back to B's and H's now because I don't talk like that. But they rushed the money to NWA to promote B's and H's. They was innocent. They didn't know. In our unrejuvenated state, we roll with the devil. We roll with the status quo. We don't know no better. But death and life is in the power of the tongue. And they that love it, they that use it, they that open their mouth and talk is going to eat the fruit thereof. You better watch what you say. You're going to eat the fruit of it. That's why Proverbs 22:1 say a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, because you better watch what you call yourself. You better watch what you say. If you want riches, if you want success, if you want Yah, if you want the Creator, you better talk like it. That's why he said, let not filthy communications come out your mouth, because filthy communications lead to a filthy life. The filthy life leads to death and destruction. Show me a filthy mouth community, I'll show you a destroyed community. You show me a faith-speaking people to speak those things that are not, call those things that are not as though they were in faith. Speaking life, I show you a living people. You show me a community with nicknames like Trigger, Mac 10. You show me a community like that, and I show you community that kill each other. Jews had that meeting and said, we got to stop them from talking against us. We need to get them to talk against themselves. The doctrine of Balaam. Say, I can't, Balaam had to tell Balak, I can't curse them long as Yah's blessing them. You got to get them to curse themselves. Them Jews had a meeting. I'm going to get them to curse themselves. I'm going to give them a budget and some beats. I'm going to give them some studio time and a video. I'm going to give them some marketing and promotion, and we're going to sign them to a major label. Because if we can't curse them, we're going to get them to curse themselves. Cuss each other out. Call each other names. Call your women B. Tell her she's a good one, too. You's a good B. Get on your knees. Make my money. I'm going to turn you into a ready teller. Heifer. Because death and life is in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21, y'all. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. You got to watch what you say. Proverbs 20:22 say a good name is rather to be chosen. Slow down before you name your children. Slow down before you name yourself, because you're prophesying. We're creators, just like our daddy. Now, who's your daddy? Yah or the devil? If you're a liar, then we already know who the father of lies is. But if you're a creator of life, then we know who your father is. A good name is rather to be chosen. Choose a name that's going to promote your relationship with your maker. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches and loving favor rather than silver and gold, because what you name yourself is going to bring favor. And favor is more than silver and gold. Favor will get you silver and gold. And favor will get you what silver and gold will get you without the silver and gold. Because favor ain't fair. And it's more powerful than riches and gold. A good name is rather to be chosen. Choose wisely, y'all. Slow down. If you name your child wrong, give them a new name. Give them a nickname filled with life. You might want to rename yourself. You might want to shake that slave name. You might, I don't know, your Babylonian name, your American name, the name you was given by force, your slave master's name. I don't know, you might. But at least you want to start calling yourself his. You at least want to be called by his name. They renamed us. They renamed Yah. You might want to rename yourself, but you definitely might want to call Yah by his real name, the name that's above every name, and at that name every knee shall bow, and every tongue shall confess he's master, he's King of kings, and the Adonais of Adonais. Neither is there salvation in any other, for there's none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. You might want to do that. Oh, I'm not saying you're not saved. Psalms 138:2 say he exalts his word over his name. Did you receive his word? I don't care if you didn't know his name. Did you receive his word? Are you obeying it? Do you have his spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, living inside of you, leading you? Then I'm not condemning you. But him to know to do good and do it not, to him is sin. Don't let religious pressure cause you not to call him by his name. Don't you let religious pressure cause you to shrink back. And don't you, Malachi 1, say it don't matter. Say that the table of Yah is contemptible. Don't you go for the okie doke, the banana and the tailpipe, talking about that's just translation or transliteration. Because if that's translation or transliteration, then when you went into slavery and they changed your name, call that translation and transliteration too. Yeah, when they changed Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's name, when they changed Daniel's name to Melchizedek, say that that's translation or transliteration so they can understand it in their language. Or did they just arbitrarily change their names, took Yah out the equation, and called the people of Yah what they wanted to? Study to show yourself approved. And while you're at it, prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. In closing, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Give yourself a fighting chance by watching your mouth and quit calling each other things that's promoting your own demise and destruction. Spirit of living Yah, we love you and thank you for the gleaning in your word on this morning, expounding in more truth, or even allow this to go over plain, falling down into the souls of your children, springing up an everlasting life. We pray that your word went forth with clarity, and we thank you for this. In the matchless name of Yeshua, we humbly pray. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.